Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 4K Kings. I am Russ.
I am Matt.
And this week, we're going to be discussing news about Arrow, Criterion, Scream Factory, a whole slew of January announcements. We'll be reviewing Top Gun Maverick, 8 Mile. We'll be giving you our recommendations and more. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe, like this video, click that bell so you don't miss any future videos, and keep supporting physical media.
We're back. Welcome back, Russ.
Welcome back, Matt.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for returning. Welcome if you're new. My name is Matt, and this is Russ, and we are your 4K Kings, covering physical media news, movie reviews, unboxings. What else do we do, Russ?
Contests, the subscribe for drive giveaway. I don't know if you've heard, Matt, but
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Once we hit 2,000 subscribers, one lucky commenter will receive a free out-of-print second sight 4K edition of the Ryan Gosling masterpiece Drive.
I love that movie.
All you have to do is subscribe to us, go to our original Drive 4K review video, and leave a comment. We will pick what we feel is the most clever comment or the one that pulls at our heartstrings the most, and we will gift that person Drive in 4K.
Yes.
The release of the year.
And we are 200 away currently.
200, wow.
200 away. So we are only 200 away from actually following through on these promises, which I'm assuming we actually have it, right?
Oh, yeah.
This hasn't been a lie. Like, we do have it.
Oh, yeah.
So we're 200 away from doing that. Help us get there. If you follow any Blue or 4K subreddits, drop a link to some of our stuff maybe sometime. If there's any, anything new going on that bluray.com, that website. I don't know if
I've heard of it.
I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. Give us a shout out on there sometime if you ever are lurking about on certain other pages. But yeah, help us get there. We're 200 away.
It could be yours.
Excited. It could be yours. Absolutely.
Could be yours.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who did not get their hands on that. That went out of print very quickly.
It did. But I got mine. It's over somewhere. Got it. But yeah, it is an amazing release, and we're ready to give that away. But again, a quick thank you to everybody that has been returning, commenting, supporting. We really appreciate all of you every day. We are so proud to have you as subscribers and fans.
Definitely. What do we have this week, man? What hit me with the news?
So, let's talk about last week for a second.
All right, hit me with last week's
in case
news.
anybody missed it. Last week we talked about that new Film Vault. Did you buy any of those in the meantime, Russ?
I actually did look into the Goodfellas one.
Did you?
I did. I didn't end up purchasing, but I did. Out of all of them, I like that artwork the best, and I am curious about how the slip works on it. If that slip comes off and doesn't have the white spine, I think that would look really nice. And maybe that slip looks really nice. I was intrigued.
Okay.
I was intrigued, but
okay.
I didn't bite the.
I haven't written it completely off. I'm waiting to see maybe what else comes out, and if it's a release of something that I have never bought before, maybe that's like one to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked pretty cool. We covered that. Check that out. Check that video out as well. We reviewed Videodrome. We reviewed Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh wait, speaking of that, I did bite the bullet and pre-order Reservoir Dogs.
Which one?
The Saw edition, the Best Buy.
The Steelbook? Yeah, why?
I was
Collector's
there.
Item for the future?
Well, it was only $21.
Mm-hmm.
That was a decent price. I was there picking up something else, and I saw it, and I was like, dude, it's Reservoir Dogs. Like, I have to. For $21. If I owned that stupid gas can edition that I had such an issue with, because to me, it didn't make sense with the movie.
Yeah.
I can back this release.
Well, I'm excited to hear about what your thoughts are when you get it, and maybe a little review of the picture quality. And let's see that little sliding ear coming off. Yeah,
because that's a film I watched so much growing up. I like visually, I will notice differences.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I don't know if I'm excited to own it, but and the last thing we did, we also took the internet by storm with something called a tier list, which we invented. And since we put that out only 3 or 4 days ago, millions of tier list videos have sprouted.
I know. I read the other day they have to come up with a new word that just viral doesn't begin to describe what we did with this tier list.
It was a tier list. It was a tier list.
Matt, you're a genius.
One of the best most viewed videos that we've ever put up. Really, people really loved it. But this week, Russ, we're going to be covering Blu and 4K news, announcements from Scream, Arrow, Criterion. A new label has been created from a former Arrow executive, which we're going to talk a little bit about as well. It's called
Who's Coming With Me?
It's called Radiance Films. Radiance Films. We're going to review Top Gun Maverick. The film, I don't know if you could say the year, but of our lifetime, maybe. I'm not sure.
Don't sell it short.
We're gonna give our recommendations, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the November Criterion Sale and a whole lot more. So before we get into the news, Russ, I just wanted to give a couple of updates, as I usually have a few things to share from previous stories. And the first thing is in regards to Bloodsport.
Bad news?
Not bad news, actually.
Oh, okay.
Good news for a change. So Bloodsport's coming out in December, as we all know. And when we covered this and I decided whether I was going to pre-order it, I was a little on the fence because wasn't sure, what the quality of this German release was going to be. There wasn't really any news about anything about it, like the transfer, the features, like really nothing. It was just, hey, this is announced. Hey, this is limited. And it's the first time it's going to be in 4K. So I pulled the trigger and I did pre-order it. And I know that you did not. But regardless of not having any details, I pre-ordered it. But new details have now emerged. I wanted to share, based on Cape Light's Facebook page. They put some stuff up there. It's in German, translated, of course. But here's the little notes that they've got.
Did I make a mistake in not pre-ordering?
We'll find out. So this is a 2022 4K RAW scan from an MGM. I'm sorry, let me say that again. It's a 2022 4K RAW scan from MGM, which was completed in Los Angeles, but then post-production by Cape Light in Germany. So this was from MGM themselves, 4K RAW scan that Cape Light's got their hands on. So that's pretty awesome that it's something that's from the original studio. There will be a world exclusive commentary with the screenwriter, as well as a man named Paolo Tocha.
Really? They got him?
It's Paco from Bloodsport. Remember that character, Paco?
No.
You don't? Oh, dude, he's like, I have to stand up to show you his fighting style, but he kind of like does a lot of knees and elbows to the face. Jean-Claude makes quick work of him.
Throw them bows.
There's also going to be an original English stereo track included. 5.1 is TBD. There will be a regular edition that comes out of this Q2 of 2023. So if you miss out on the limited edition book version, you'll be able to get a regular edition later on. And if all of these do well, a Steelbook edition will also be put out, says Cape Light.
So I have many options in the future.
You will have many options in the future, at least from Cape Light in Germany.
I still feel like this is going to get a North American release.
Well, dude, I was just going to say that because now that we know the scan was provided by MGM, like, why wouldn't they just do one here?
They will.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm screwed.
I don't know why. Like, after the whole True Romance thing, especially, like,
yeah.
I just, there's certain titles, they're too big. Lost Boys, Bloodsport, True, like these, they'll sell in North America. I mean, it's inevitable.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when physical media is what it is. They're not going to hold on to something like this when they can still squeeze $1 out of it.
Let's wait until the market gets better.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
come on,
true.
it's on its last breath, basically.
Yeah, so I bought this one thinking the opposite, kind of always knowing maybe it would be something in America, but
you know what? Who knows? You probably are getting the best release sometimes.
We'll see. It
won't be an identical, it'll be like the same transfer, but not maybe some great packaging that you're going to receive.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's good to know that at least this is in good hands. It sounds like I'm excited to get this now, whereas I was a little bit unsure before. So that's your info. That's your update on Bloodsport. The only other thing wasn't really an update, just something I wanted to share. I don't know if anyone out there or even you have had this issue lately with your pre-orders being completely delayed.
Yes. Dude, like this just happened with Dress to Kill 2 days ago.
All my Kino Lorber titles.
Yes.
All of them.
Kino Lorber.
Yes.
Dude,
does anyone know what's going on with Kino Lorber? I feel like I didn't know it was that widespread.
I've never had this happen. I had an email from Amazon saying that you need to approve.
Me too.
I've never had that happen.
Do you want to hold on to this pre-order or do you just want to cancel it outright?
And then every time I tried to approve it, it just sent me on a loop back to the order summary. And I didn't know, like, am I approving this? Am I canceling it? I had no idea. But it was Dress to Kill. And I pre-ordered that in August.
Me too. August. Yeah. Tropic Thunder and Usual Suspects both were delayed.
Wow. All right, so it's a Kino Lorber issue.
It was, and then also I pre-ordered Top Gun Maverick, which was supposed to come on Tuesday, It was initially supposed to come on Tuesday, then it got delayed to the 9th, but then it did show up on time, thankfully.
But Tom Cruise is perfect. He hand delivered it to you.
He did. He was hand delivering all these like Santa
Just
Claus
like he
coming
thanked
down.
just like he thanked everyone in the movie theaters. He's delivering these Blu-rays to people himself.
He is.
He's a
like
class act.
He's like
he is saving cinema.
He is. He's magic like Santa Claus. He can just immediately appear at your house and give you the movie and leave and get all the houses in America and across the globe in one night.
For real. The man is a maverick.
He is a maverick. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on with these delays. Let us know if you guys know, if it's a Kino thing, if it's just a supply chain thing in general, but kind of sucks.
That's wild. I had no idea.
Yeah, and so those are your updates of the week, Russ.
Sad updates. What's
They
going
are-
on with Kino?
I don't know what's going on.
Kino's
with Kino.
been doing so great with 4K releases as well. That's sad to hear.
I know. I don't know. But so I wanted to cover this new label called Radiance Film. So we talked about last week, we discussed this Film Vault 4K range, which was essentially repackagings of 4K movies. And I kind of said at the time, I really wish this was a new label that was doing something cool with packaging and with new films or things that are still out there that need to be restored or whatever else. So when I kind of stumbled upon a little bit more about this, I thought we could talk a little bit about this and share it. But this isn't, breaking news. Some of this has already leaked out like a little while ago, but they are really gearing up with a lot of announcements on social media. There's like a trailer they just put out for their label now. So I think they're really trying to gain some steam with it. And it's called Radiance Films. And it's from the former director of content at Arrow. His name is Francesco Simeoni. Mm-hmm. And he's the dude who we saw kind of going back and forth when that Arrow Criterion art was sort of jacked up, and there were people saying that, Arrow ripped off a Criterion, and he was kind of chiming in and saying, no, like basically trying to apologize, trying to smooth it over. But he was the one that was kind of like going back and forth with that. So this is a UK label, but they're also going to have a US distribution through MVD, which is kind of good for anybody that wants to pick this up through MVD. You can, and
which makes sense based on one title. I see you just pull it up.
Yeah, I know.
I was about to get very angry.
I was gonna mention that to you. So, this just in general, when I'm looking at these films, and I'll kind of say what they are, but in general, when I'm looking at these movies, it seems like that they're trying to go from a different sort of niche genre angle than Arrow is. It's kind of Arrow sort of goes one way with kind of like sort of like more fun titles. These seem more, from what I gather, like international art house sort of style films that were, maybe not released in the UK yet, or maybe not released in the US yet. And it seems like a lot of it's like before 1980, like most of it, except for Miami Blues. So the first slate was announced. For the most part, all of these are coming out in January and February, with some TBD release dates on some of the ones that they've announced, but you can pre-order almost all of them on their website. And announced so far is, tell me if you've heard of any of these, Russ. Big Time Gambling Boss.
No.
Miami Blues.
I own the MVD.
Okay.
Rewind Blue.
A Woman Kills.
No.
The Working Class Goes to Heaven.
It's my favorite movie.
The Man on the Roof.
Second favorite movie.
She Dies Tomorrow.
Never heard of it.
Fill Her Up with Super.
Oh, was that the one about gasoline?
Red Sun.
With Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes?
The Sunday Woman.
Never heard of that one.
And Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Oh, of course. I have heard of Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Okay. So that's what they initially kind of threw out there. They're expected to do about 30 films per year is what they've kind of stated on their website.
Welcome to the Dollhouse is from the director of Happiness.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe they'll be able to
Shows
put it
you
out.
what kind of movie it is.
Well, maybe they'll put that out. Who knows? So they've stated 30 titles roughly per year, with mainly new restorations, some reissues, only Blue for now, possibly 4K when they say it's warranted, but they'll never put DVD out. So fuck off, DVD.
And it's no 4K so far.
No.
Okay. So my MVD Rewind Blu-ray that I just picked up of Miami Blues is going to be identical to this company's release.
I believe so. We're going to take a look at that. But from what I can tell, they put these limited editions out, then they're going to put regular editions out later on. It looks like to me, when I look at the art that they're trying to do here, even when you go to like their website, They've got, merch and, all this different stuff. It kind of looks like a little bit of a classy outfit with their packaging and, designs, their website, all that kind of stuff. It sort of feels like to me, it's like a Criterion approach where we're trying to be.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, versus that fun Arrow approach with their packaging.
To me, it
designs.
looks like a combination of Criterion and Indicator.
Yeah, you're right. Yep, I agree with
For
that.
anyone who's just listening, if you combined those two studio artwork styles, that's what you have here.
Yeah, I would agree. And the artwork is pretty solid. It's got this interesting, what they call an OBI strip on the side, which has like technical info and, other information about the disc itself, but you can remove it. And I like how they explain that. They say, an OBI strip wraps the spine with technical info, but it can be removed to leave the art unspoiled.
I like my art unspoiled.
Me too. I like how they
Unlike
said,
those protests where...
I mean,
what am I saying?
I immediately felt that because, when you get some of these UK releases that have like the age restriction or age stickers on there, it's like that shit spoils my art.
I was about to say, you are not a fan of
I hate
those
it.
ratings.
I like how you can
UK
peel them
ratings.
off on some of these days, but when it's just plastered right on, it spoils the art.
No, I agree.
So you can buy these, these releases individually. Of course, they do package deals. They even have like I guess almost close to a $2,000 package where you can get all 3 years of their releases. They'll just ship them to you as soon as they come out for 3 whole years. Plus, you get all kinds of like member benefits, merch packages, like whatever. But in general, I think it's a pretty cool company. I don't see anything right off the bat that I'm like dying to get. But I know, Russ, you've got the Miami Blues from MVD, and it looks like they've got 3 to 4 features on each of these, plus they kind of talk a little bit about what's inside. It's a limited edition. It's 3,000 copies. There's a booklet inside. So they're kind of leaning into that aspect more than I think giving you a ton of new features. It seems like all of them.
And to be fair, look at these titles. How many new features?
How much can you get?
I mean, the fact that you're getting these features for these titles is pretty impressive.
No, I agree. I agree, but
I'd
it looks
be
nice.
interested. I would pick up Welcome to the Dollhouse. That gets me excited that maybe MVD will release it, as you said.
Yeah.
I would love to pick that up.
Yeah, so the next wave of releases for them comes out December 7th. This is their first slate, but in about a little over a month, we'll get to see what else they're going to do.
And remember, it's just blue, not 4K, so these will be region locked.
Yep, they all say that on here, region B locked, so you'll have to wait for the MVD rewind, or not rewind, but just the MVD release, or have a region-free player. Mm-hmm. So Radiance Films, cool new label, nice to see. There's still somebody doing something different out there. Kind of, if you consider taking two companies we like and smashing them together different.
It's nice to see a new company start. I mean, who was expecting that?
Yeah, nobody.
It feels like the news or the vibe is always negative.
Yeah.
Like it's going downhill.
Yeah, I think it's
promising.
Awesome. It is. I wish them good luck. Good luck, Fran. Good luck, Franny. So into the news, there's been, 3 of the main companies, Criterion, Arrow, and Scream, they just kind of released their January slates. And honestly, when I look at all of them, I'm a little underwhelmed. I don't know if you've seen anything, Russ. I kind of want to just, breeze through each company just to kind of see, who's got what. And I mean, see if it's anything that you feel like you're going to pick up. There's very little to anything that I'm looking at, which to me, I kind of like because I think my wallet needs a break.
Yeah.
I need that January slump, especially right after the holidays. It's like, thank you. Thanks for that.
Well, I'll say the last time we got together and we covered a Criterion release slate, I was always aware of the film Cooley High, and I ended up watching it. That's been announced. I think it comes out in December.
Yep.
Great movie. I immediately looked to go pre-order. I mean, it's that solid. It's not in 4K.
Oh, I guess not. I don't know.
I think Criterion is just putting out in blue,
yeah,
which is disappointing. And now I'm gonna wait.
Okay. Sorry,
Criterion. I don't know why would they do that now? They're already in the 4K game. I don't understand why.
It's weird to me too because in certain titles like this one, like Baron Munchausen, we saw this with Blowout and a bunch of others. They're doing the 4K and the Blu-ray at the same time, so it's not like they're trying to bleed you out like by waiting. It's like if they are able to do it, it looks like they just would do it. So maybe they can't do it.
And that's what I thought they were doing with Cool. Maybe Amazon just didn't have it. I don't know. Maybe I need to start going to deep discount.
Let me see. Cool.
Better fan.
No, yeah, there's no 4K of that.
That's crazy.
So Criterion, we touched on this briefly. I just wanted to kind of like tie these all together just again. But for Criterion for January, they've got Baron Munchausen coming out, which is pretty awesome. I mentioned before, I really enjoy this movie. It's joining, I think, Terry Gilliam's got a couple other ones on here too. Like, I think 12 Monkeys is on here. But Time Bandits, Brazil, I think. Criterion's picked up a lot of his movies.
I thought Arrow did 12 Monkeys.
Didn't Criterion do it too?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm full of shit, but it joins his other feature films.
I didn't know where you were going with that because you started off with
Bandits.
12 Monkeys.
Didn't they pick it up?
Look it up.
Oh my God! What do we know?
Dad rules.
I think you're right. Arrow. What am I thinking about? I guess not. What am I thinking about?
The other one, she said Brazil was on Criterion.
It is, and so is Time. Yeah,
Time Bandits was released.
Is. Okay, so I'll take back 12 Monkeys. So yes, it's joining Time Bandits in Brazil.
Fear and Loathing.
And Fear and Loathing. Yep. So here's another one for them. Awesome. I'm definitely going to pick this up. I think this is a cool. It's kind of like a kid's movie, but in a way, it's bizarre enough for adults to still like get down with.
You know what it reminds me of? I've never seen it, but it always gave me the feeling of a Wes Anderson kids movie. And Wes Anderson wasn't even around yet.
True.
That's how I describe what I think this movie is.
This one's got a little bit of a darker tone, maybe edge to it, but still while still being light for the most part. But it's a little bit heavier, but I agree with you. It does have a lot of that like attention to detail, quirkiness, style. It's all over the place.
Well, I mean, Terry Gilliam.
It's awesome.
It's kind of messed up. I'm comparing Gilliam to Wes Anderson as if Gilliam doesn't have his own style or, yeah.
He's very, very similar. And then the rest of these, I'm not really sure about these Lars von Trier Europe trilogies and this 3K restoration of God knows what. But same thing with Arrow. So they just put out their January announcements too. And it's not much I recognize. Some martial arts stuff. A Lucas Moodysson box set with 6 films in it. I've never heard of him. Russ, any thoughts on Lucas Moodysson?
He directed Miami Blues.
Did he? Well, maybe it's in this box set for you. But just more of a pass for me. I don't know too much on here. The Executioner. I don't know. The Lady Whirlwind and Hapkido. I don't know what that is. I don't know what these are. Scream Factory, however, for their January slate, they have the most that I at least recognized, with one kind of surprising one, I thought. They just kind of put out the details for all these. These were kind of rumored a few weeks ago, and now all the details are finally here. But they are leading with a collector's edition of Dawn of the Dead, the famed Zack Snyder version.
Yeah.
I think it's a good movie. What do you think?
I think it's a
good remake.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I think it's good by comparison.
Okay.
If we're going to talk horror remakes, especially 2000s horror remakes, Dawn of the Dead is the cream of the crop.
Okay.
It's definitely.
Have you ever owned this on anything? No. I owned it on DVD.
I was never that big of a fan. Like I said, I it's okay. It's okay.
So that's coming out, and it looks like, again, per usual, they're kind of bringing along all the old stuff, but they do have a new 4K master struck from the original camera negative. I don't know why it says struck from. I've never seen that worded that way. I don't know if that's like some new technology that I'm not aware of, or if it's just the wording of it.
It's because of all the Justice League stuff. They're trying to make it controversial. It was struck away from Zack Snyder's hands, and now we struck it back.
Another movie that I know you're a big fan of, Freaky.
Love it.
I mean, don't you like this movie?
No.
I thought you saw it and told me you liked it.
Fuck no. I did.
Excuse me?
I regrettably saw it.
Oh, okay. I thought you gave it a good review.
You know what you're because you're thinking it's the guy who made Happy Death Day.
Okay.
And I did. Happy Death Day is decent. Okay. And so I went into this I gave him a chance based off Happy Death Day. No, dude.
It's terrible.
Of course it's terrible. Scream Factory's putting this out?
They are.
Shame on you.
Scream Factory, they are putting that out. They're also putting out Ouija.
Why do you say it like that?
Because that's what it's called, Ouija.
Ouija?
Ouija. They're putting out a Jackie Chan collection. Shout Select is a few of his titles from 1976 to 1982, which I'm not too familiar with. Then you've got The Wrath of Man from Guy Ritchie, which I also think is a bizarre. This is the one I think is a little strange.
I've never even heard of this.
It's one of the it's the newest Guy Ritchie movie starring Jason Statham, looking exactly the same as always.
How did I miss he did a movie with Jason Statham
again? And
yeah.
And why is Scream, or I guess it's Shout that's putting it out, not Scream, but it's just funny. It's a weird, I don't know, is that weird to me? Is that weird to you?
No, it's weird. Scream's done some, the Poison Ivy collection is a Scream Factory release.
I think that fits more than Wrath of Man.
I don't know. This is the first time I'm learning of Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man, dude. Fucking Wrath of Man.
It could be the horror film of the year, dude. I have no idea.
It's not a horror film. It's like typical Guy Ritchie slop. I mean, look at it. It's like Crank and whatever else.
Crank? He did Crank?
No, he did it, but he was in it.
Shit, Crank's probably better than Wrath of Man.
Could be. Then you have a Steelbook, lastly, from They Live, which is, again, that Army of Darkness sort of style. And I've never seen this movie. I like this art.
Why do you think I'm wearing sunglasses right now? I'm looking at your fake ass consumer skeleton, right?
Trying to make you buy more, Russ.
I know buy. This is what we're doing on this channel.
Sell. Obey me now. But what do you think?
That artwork's great.
I think it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
I'm glad you agreed. I was worried you weren't going to agree.
No, this fits the movie perfectly.
Yeah, it does.
Like I said, the only one I kind of had, and again, it wasn't bad. I just thought it was misrepresented. Was The Fog. I just think if you had never seen The Fog and you looked at that cover and then put the movie on, it's not gonna. It's setting an expectation that I don't think the film is gonna deliver, because the film is more subdued of a ghost story. They Live is like Big Trouble in Little China. Yes, it's this. There you go. I know you know Big Trouble in Little China. Wouldn't this style of artwork fit that film beautifully? Yeah, that's They Live is in that realm. It's in that wheelhouse. So of course this is great, and I also like how it has the bluer. Like the bluish hue. Most of these Steelbooks, like Army of Darkness and all, or even Carrie that's coming out, has that red, fiery. I like it's a muted, cooler color for it.
I do. I think
it's awesome.
Yeah, that blue color is really nice. I think the art looks cool. I think I get immediately what this movie is just by looking at this. It's badass. And Scream put this out not that long ago. We covered this early on in our younger days of this channel when it first came out, but now they're putting it back out in this 4K Steelbook, which honestly is really freaking nice.
Two things about this. One, it's going to lower the value of the Blu-ray I already own, and I have that slip that came with it that actually had the circle with the buy, like not sticker, because it's actually part of the artwork. But that one was like it's supposedly a very rare slip.
Well, can you keep that slip and slide it over the steel?
I'm gonna have to
keep it all. So I mean,
you know how many problems I have in my life, Matt.
I gotta worry about this shit now.
I gotta worry about this shit. I gotta worry about this slipcase.
Well, so those are the announcements. What?
You missed the biggest feature that's coming along with this. They're giving you a pack of bubble gum.
Are they? No, they're not.
That would be so rad if they did.
If it was inside, it was like all hard, like baseball gum, like came out, it's like shatters in like 1,000 pieces. So those are the big three studios and their January releases. And honestly, like I said, I'm not mad at them. I'm going to need a break. I think I'm definitely going to pick up Baron Munchausen. In fact, I already pre-ordered that. But I think maybe there's a Dawn of the Dead in my future. This They Live Steel is awesome for people that are fans of this movie.
You should blind buy it because you love Big Trouble in Little China. I'd say out of any other,
is it kid friendly?
Not like Big Trouble in Little China, but it's not
bad.
No,
gotcha.
But definitely out of any other John Carpenter film, I'd say this is the closest in tone to Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay. Cool. Well, let us know if you guys are picking up anything, if there's any titles here that you're excited about. Some of these, like I said, I've never even really heard of, but I'd be interested to know more if it's something that you guys are aware of and are picking up. A quick Steelbook roundup, Russ. Quick Steelbook roundup. I know this is always your favorite.
I do. You know what's funny? I am a Steelbook enthusiast. I realized that recently.
Yeah?
Dude, I just picked up the Reservoir Dogs Saw edition. And
Steelbooks are coming back.
Here's what's going to blow your mind. Do you know what I was ordering because I said it was like an add-on. I wasn't going there. I was getting the Steelbook at 4K Punisher Warzone.
Wow. Steelbook 4K Punisher Warzone.
Matt's sitting over like, we didn't even cover that.
We didn't. I mean, I think I remember seeing that, but
I love that movie.
Pick it up now. Punisher Warzone.
Probably the best Marvel movie. You've heard it from Matt first.
Well, speaking of superhero steelbooks, Kick-Ass is coming in one of these fancy, super spectacular collector's edition steelbook sets from Zavvi. It is coming out in a regular steelbook for, or actually, this is. Hold on, let me just see really quick. I think this is only in UK. This is okay. Yeah, so this has previously been released in 4K, but not in a steelbook. Zavvi's putting this steelbook out, but also in a collector's edition with all their typical trimmings, the outer hard box, the booklet, the photos, the poster, kind of all that stuff. I'm going to tell you, I think this movie is pretty cool, but this steelbook is ugly as shit. I think this wraparound box is also really terrible to look at.
I don't think it's terrible.
I don't even get what this outer box is.
Oh, I do.
It's like, it's like, oh, who is this person? There's like this whole schematic of like, it looks like Pepe Sylvia from fucking...
it looks like the Suicide Squad, and they're doing that intentionally for younger audiences.
That's what this...
artwork reminds me... Dude, at a glance, I would assume this was a steelbook for the newer Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, it's like, it's always been colorful. Like, all the characters have their own color. It's always been the case. That was even the original poster. But this outside box... it looks like a crime scene or something. Like where are the characters? I get
where's the cutoff ear?
Where's the damned cutoff ear? But I don't know. It's just loud. It's busy. I don't like it. Even for this movie, I don't like it.
I'm with you. I don't like it either. I'm not as offended as you are.
I mean, like,
it doesn't. I mean, it fits what the movie is.
This stupid ass vision board outer box. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's Zavvi.
It's true. It is Zavvi.
What were you expecting?
Well, it's limited to 2,000 copies, so not everyone can get one.
You know what I'm surprised about, though?
What are you surprised by?
That they went they should have combined if they were going to do this Suicide Squad inspired artwork. But dude, have you noticed no Nicolas Cage? What is with that?
He's on the back of the steelbook, but he's not.
Come on, you got to cash in on Mandy and Unbearable Weight.
That's what I'm saying.
Where's Nicolas Cage?
That's what I'm telling
Nobody
you.
cares about the guy. I already forgot his name. Who was in that Godzilla remake?
It looks stupid. This outer box looks dumb.
Or Hit Girl, which is what everybody gravitated towards in this movie anyway.
Yes.
Basically, Zavvi, you did a whole lot of extra work to give us something uninspired. You could come on.
Great job.
But I'm not as mad as you are. I mean, it's not that bad.
The details that they share for people that might want to pick this up, and there might be some of you out there, and more power to you if you do, but it does say that there's a gloss steelbook that comes with it, a high gloss rigid slipcase. So you know that right away that the packaging sounds like it's going to have some, some matte areas, some shiny areas. It's going to probably be nice to look at and nice to hold, and that's good at least. 36-page book, 5 art cards, and a double-sided poster. If this art was better, I probably would be on something like this.
I was just going to ask you that because I feel like maybe that's why I'm not.
Yeah, and $65.
Because I wasn't going to buy it anyway, so I'm just sort of in the middle. I have no dog in this fight, but it sounds like you were.
I would have probably. Yeah. I mean, I would like. I like this movie, and we'll get a nice edition of it.
I don't hate it.
I wouldn't pay $65 before shipping.
Yeah.
Never.
No,
that's $70 for Kick-Ass.
Wouldn't. Yeah.
I'm not paying $70 for Kick-Ass, but. It's coming out, so everyone jump on that now that we've given it such a rave review.
Hey, you know that new edition of Kick-Ass? It looks like shit. Yeah. It's just kind of okay. Go out and pick it up.
Another steelbook that was announced first in France, but now US has finally announced it as well, is Cloverfield. And I think it's its 15th anniversary, and this is coming out January 24th. Now, this has previously been released in 4K. Also, this is just a new collector's edition steelbook for the anniversary. And the U.S. and the foreign markets are getting somewhat of different art, which if you are a Cloverfield fan, and I did consider pre-ordering this, but I was a little put off when the original art that I saw came out. They have tweaked it slightly for the U.S., which I do like. So in the U.S. version, Russ, you're a huge Cloverfield fan.
I've never seen it.
So in the U.S. version, let me back up. They're going with a steelbook that has one of these fancy slide down plastic sleeves on it that alters the art in some way.
I dig it.
Big fans. So the art itself is a picture of the city under siege by the monster. Which first off, I'm a little put off by. I know it's 15 years later, but the monster has never been part of the advertisement, and in fact, the monster's in it for I would say total. If you combine all the scenes that it's in, and as many times as you see it, less than 2 minutes. it's very quick when you see this thing. It's more about the dread and them trying to escape. It's not exactly like a Godzilla, let's watch this thing marvel for however long. Yeah. So that's why I always kind of like that. But now it's on the box, which kind of pisses me off because I know what they're doing. I like it.
I remember when the sequel came out, I was confused by the advertising because they went ahead and just showed John Goodman in the trailers.
Instead of him like marching down the streets and kicking buildings over. But what I will say is, at least for John Goodman's sake, because they do cover him up, if you look at the French release, the slide down in both releases is like a camera lens. But on the French release, the camera lens is kind of clear and you can still see the monster through it. Where in the US release, it's the iconic Statue of Liberty poster that's part of the lens. So when you bring it down, you can kind of see the original poster art with this lens around it. Then when you lift it up, you get the monster version underneath. So I like that they've kind of twisted that a little bit for US. This would obviously be the one I would get if I were to get it.
As someone who's never seen the film, I like both. I think that's clever what they did with this.
You like that?
Yeah. But as you said, I'm not familiar with the film, even though it's one of my favorites.
One of your favorites. And then another Steelbook release just in time for Bill Murray to be canceled.
This troublemaker.
Is Groundhog's Day in 4K, a 30th anniversary Steelbook. So I have the 25th anniversary 4K regular release. So for the 30th anniversary, they are bringing him back out. Similar art choice here. Bill Murray's still stuck in a clock with his fake hands kind of coming up there. And the only difference that I can tell on this Steelbook is that in the information it shares is that this release is claiming it has Dolby Vision, whereas I don't see that listed on my release. So I don't know if there has been a slight visual tweak to this one, that if you've never owned it, maybe this is just the one to flat out get anyway. But again, I've got the regular edition. I'm good without this personally. I don't know. Have you ever owned Groundhog's Day, Russ?
I think at one point I had a special edition DVD that I picked up when it was on sale. Gotcha. I respect the movie. Yep. It's just never one I want to rewatch.
Keep putting on. It's like a TV movie. You kind of on, you leave it on. Like
it
TBS.
Is. I mean, it's kind of it's heavy. Honestly, it's heavy. Plus, when you think about what was going on, it's a depressing movie because I always knew, even back then when I guess I was 11 when it came out, how Murray and Harold Ramis, this was the movie that basically ended their friendship.
Yeah.
And I don't know, in light of Bill Murray's
problematic behavior,
extracurricular activities, yeah,
it's time to not support this man any longer.
It's time to he needs to relive the same day over and over until he learns to stop harassing people.
Stop it, Bill. So don't give Bill your money this year, mainly just because of these unnecessary double dips.
Or Ramis, don't give him any. Well,
yeah, I will say this is Sony Pictures, and I will say that they just put out the Fright Nights, and that Steelbook is really nice. This one might have that same kind of look to it, which they've been killing it as far as their Steelbooks are concerned. But
I didn't think about that. This is a Sony release.
It is. Yeah, their little like tag, whatever you call it. Card
but you're right. There's if it's half as good as that Fright Night Steelbook, this is.
You'd be willing to overlook Bill Murray's problematic behavior?
Never. No. I don't care what Bill Murray does in his personal life. No, it's just not a movie I envision myself. I don't need it in 4K.
Don't need it in 4K.
It's just not a movie for me in 4K.
Well, a movie I'm very excited about coming to Blu-ray in the U.S. for its U.S. debut, first time ever, Russ, is Anvil. The Story of Anvil.
I saw this release
in an ultimate Blu-ray edition, and I'm so super pumped. Only because, again, this has never been released in the U.S. You could get it in Blu-ray over in like the U.K. or something. It was never even released on DVD. Never. Like no releases of this exist. So now that it's coming out in Blu-ray, I think it's kind of funny that it's an ultimate edition, and they've literally packed this thing with everything, which you can imagine they would be able to, considering these are the stories about, two people that really never made it. What are they going to do? They're like hanging around. They're ready to do more commentaries and whatever else. But I just like how much care they've actually put into this release is really awesome. Now, it is a Blu-ray, but it's coming with a new 4K restoration, which this is a documentary. How much more clarity do I need? I don't know. But the fact that they're giving the best picture quality possible, I can respect that.
And as you said, it never even made it to DVD. This is basically its home video debut.
Yeah. So let's make it awesome.
Yeah.
And it's coming out January 20th from Utopia Distribution. One of my favorite rock docs, never released in the U.S., like I mentioned. New commentaries, new video commentaries, new Q&As, 2008 commentaries, 90-minute interviews, archival interviews from 1981 featuring the members of this band. You got Lars Ulrich on here giving like a 30-minute talk. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this Anvil, the story of Anvil.
When does Lars not give a 30-minute talk?
I don't know, but maybe one day I'll recommend this in our recommendation segment. I'll just say again, one of my favorite rock documentaries. If you like documentaries or anything like rockumentaries, it's worth picking up. It's about friendship. It's about not giving up on your dreams. It's a beautiful movie. It's got a great heart, and it's about metal on metal. Day one buy for me. Highly recommend. Russ, you?
What do we got next?
And lastly,
it's good.
From the MVD.
It's a good doc.
Lastly, from the MVD Marquee Collection, Rain Man in
Really?
4K. I know, so bizarre.
I didn't hit the MVD wow.
It's not MVD Rewind, and it's their MVD Marquee Collection, which I don't know how some of these things differ or like what the mindset is behind each of these labels and what they're focusing on. But
they're focusing on Tom Cruise.
Hell yeah, they are. They should.
They're not after that Valeria Golino money.
No, or Dustin Hoffman money. They know what they're doing. Well, this is its 35th anniversary, and they're putting this out. And the note on it says, previously, let me make sure I get this exactly right. Previously restored in 4K on behalf of MGM. So again, very specific with the wording here. It's not a new restoration, it seems, and this is also an SDR release. I don't know if MVD has the capabilities to bust out the HDR Dolby Vision, but this is an SDR release. Not that Rain Man needs the HDR, but
yes, it does.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to have.
It needs all the help it can get, Matt.
I have this on Blu-ray. I'm not sure this is worth the upgrade from Blu to this, but this movie does have a soft spot in my heart. I'm not sure, again, if I'd take a plunge on this or not, especially because it's SDR.
It's funny, dude. I think we're fans of Tom Cruise, but we are like opposite fans of Tom Cruise. It seems like the movies you like by him are the ones I'm just thoroughly
But I think I also like the movies you do like. I think I just like more Tom Cruise movies.
I'd say you're a Tom Cruise stan.
I am a Tom Cruise stan, and I don't think there's a better segue than that than to talk about one of the best movies of the year, if not our lifetimes, if not the movie that saved
Avatar 2 hasn't come out yet, Matt. What are you going on about?
I'm actually excited to see, or interested to see, I should say, how fast that moves past Maverick, because Maverick has really gone far, but I'm curious to see how quick. I know it will. I'm just curious to see how quickly it happens.
I have no interest in Avatar 2, but I have all the interest of watching James Cameron break every record. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see that. I think it's going to be, because you're right, it's going to happen.
Because I feel like I've never met a person in real life who likes Avatar. Anytime I've ever heard Avatar brought up in actual real world conversation, everyone mocks it. And they're just like, oh, it's Ferngully or it's Pocahontas. It's stupid. Yeah, but they casually like it.
I liked it.
Like, for instance, if I hear random people talking about Marvel movies, there's passion in their voices. Avatar, it's always just kind of like, yeah, that was cool in the theater type of a thing. And they always seem to be like, I feel like it became a punching bag to a lot of people, like an easy movie to just criticize. I've never seen it, but knowing that, I just think it's going to be funny to see all these people go right back to the theater and make Avatar 2 the biggest success of all time.
But will it be bigger than Top Gun Maverick? Yes, it will be. But let's talk about Top Gun Maverick. Again, like I mentioned, it's the savior of cinema, at least before James Cameron has to resave it all over again. But this has finally been released after such a long wait, which, again, we'll kind of talk about the whole history of that. But it's now here. It's arrived in a regular edition, a Steelbook edition. Even Walmart's got like a lenticular Steelbook edition.
Of course they do.
And a 2-pack that you can get with the first. Now, I went with the Steelbook, and it was initially delayed. Here, I'm going to pop this plastic off really quick. I went with the Steelbook that was initially delayed, but it finally kind of... There we go. Although it was initially delayed, it finally did show up on time, and I'm really happy that it's the Steelbook that I got. I'm just going to take this back piece off real quick so we can marvel at it, Russ. We can marvel at the
Are they
disc that's
called-
going to save physical media, just like Tom saved theaters.
Exactly.
He's now going to save physical media. Take a look at that Steelbook.
He saved Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man also.
He did.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's pretty nice, right? I like the art. The shot of him in the jet, I think, is really cool. It's a very shiny Steelbook. I think it's really glossy looking. So what do you have here? So I'm going to show the camera. You selfish bastard.
No. You don't want everybody to steal your digital code.
Oh, it comes with a digital code. Don't forget. Is that answer the call? Nice. So we got digital codes. Get that out of here.
Mr. Maverick.
So we got the Maverick. Here it is.
Not John McCain.
And on the inside or on the back, we have him taken off. It's really nice colors. I really like it.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. On the inside, we've got the disc. We got Tom on the motorcycle. One of my favorite scenes of the movie.
Wasn't that scene in the first one?
Probably. We got the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc on top. Overall, high quality. I can't recommend this movie or this release enough, which let's just dive right into now. So there have been a lot of reviews on the picture quality and the audio and all that kind of stuff, which we're definitely going to dive into, but I do want to talk about the movie itself first. I saw this movie in the theater. Russ, you saw this at home, am I right?
Yes.
So you saw it at home. I saw it in the theater. And just in case people don't know information about one of the, if not the biggest movies of all time, this is a 2022 film directed by a man named Joseph Kosinski. Mm-hmm. And this is a sequel to the 1986 original, which was directed by Tony Scott. Now, Kosinski also previously directed Tron Legacy, which was another sequel from 28 years in its past.
Yeah.
And then also a movie called Oblivion that's got Tom Cruise in it, as well as Spiderhead for Netflix.
Great film.
Which friggin' looked like a complete piece of crap. Having worked with Tom Cruise previously, he spoke with him, at some point when Tom Cruise was doing like Mission Impossible, the two kind of got together. He kind of had this big passion for this movie as well, pitched some ideas to Tom. They end up linking up and start to make this movie together. Now it stars Tom Cruise, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, Miles Teller, and Val Kilmer.
And Ed Harris.
Don't forget Ed mother effing Harris.
I love Ed Harris.
Dude, whenever he shows up, it's always quality.
I always feel like he's going to murder someone, no matter what the movie is.
It's true. He's just got that look. And in case anyone doesn't know the plot of this groundbreaking, trailblazing movie, Maverick confronts his past while training new Top Gun graduates, including the son of his deceased friend Goose, for a dangerous mission.
And that mission is to fight the enemy.
The enemy.
The unnamed
We can't
enemy.
name him. We can't name him. No, we can't name him. Critics, fans, everyone adored this movie. They praised Cruise. They praised the aviation sequences, making it the highest grossing film of 2022 and Tom's film career.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
That's not adjusted for inflation, though.
Yeah, I don't know, but not yet.
Try to take the wind out of this movie's sails.
Dude, yeah, stop it, Russ. Stop trying to knock this movie down. So just a little bit about this movie, because I'm dying to hear your thoughts. I know I'm dying to share them as well, but I did want to kind of just talk a little bit about the history of this movie, how it got made, just a little bit of details about it, because I do think it's kind of an interesting story, especially in the age of, COVID and home media releases and, doing streaming and all that kind of shit. But initially, as most people, most actors probably would say, Tom Cruise did not want to do a sequel to Top Gun. He was like interviewed back in the 80s. He was like, I'm not even interested in that. I think he said it would be irresponsible or some like weird quote. But he became, I guess, more open to the idea in the more like 2010 area after he started kind of like, shooting off into stuntman realm, as you'd like to call it.
Yeah, no, Tom Cruise is smart. The movie star era died around the mid 2000s, and who's a bigger movie star than him? People like him, Will Smith, etc. Like they don't put asses in seats. Their name alone will not put asses in seats anymore.
Yeah,
and so he had to do a Top Gun too.
Yeah,
what's he gonna do? That Rock of Ages movie?
Well, it was Tony Scott and Jerry Bruckheimer. Jerry Bruckheimer. I like that name better.
Jerry Bruckheimer.
He brought the hammer. Jerry Bruckheimer and Tony Scott actually came to Tom Cruise, pitched the ideas to him. They started working on it. Tony Scott actually wrote a script, started scouting stuff, and then obviously when he died, committed suicide, the project just went into limbo. But then, I guess just as things happen, Jerry Bruckheimer's keeping it going. Then they hire some screenwriters in like 2014. Then again, I mentioned, Joseph Kosinski, they kind of meet up. Finally, in 2017, once he's kind of an integral part of the directing piece and they've got all these screenwriters working on a script, things finally started to like gel. And this movie started to really kind of pick up steam as far as getting made and getting the budget and, all that kind of crap.
It was completed by 2020, wasn't it? And then it just didn't release because Cruise and everyone were adamant about, no, this is a theatrical film.
Yep. And they started the casting process actually in 2018. And, they made some modifications. Obviously, Tom Cruise was very adamant that Val Kilmer be included, which I think, again, is a classy move. But and then maybe not so classy move, they dumped Kelly McGillis because Tom Cruise ain't putting up with that in the new Top Gun. So they got Jennifer Connelly. And I actually think Kelly Gillis came out and said something about
Kelly Bruckheimer.
They didn't even reach out to me, and I kind of understand why. I'm like an old woman now, and
think about that though. Think about that for a second.
Yeah,
we're not going to reach out to a woman because she is aged, but we're going to bring back a man with throat cancer who can't talk.
You need Val back. Iceman is pivotal.
And Val Kilmer.
They can easily give Tom Cruise.
Like I said, I'm trying to take the wind out of this movie's sails, man. I'm trying to get you to fight for your love.
They need to give Tom Cruise a love interest. They need someone that he can feasibly fall in love with, and I guess it's not going to be Kelly McGillis. I don't know what she looks like now, no offense, but Jennifer Connelly looking good. Tom Cruise and her, good match. Val Kilmer's got to be back. I'm sorry.
Okay.
McGillis. Even Meg Ryan, no call.
Wow, what happened to Meg Ryan?
She got no call. No call back.
Did she marry Kevin Kline or something? I haven't seen her in
got captured?
years. I'm being serious. What happened to Meg Ryan?
I don't know.
If anybody put out an APB, please let me know in the comments. I'm concerned.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I know she did that. What was it? Like In the Cut? What was the name of that movie? Shortcuts?
No, it was In the Cut. That was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I remember when she did that movie, people were commenting like, "Oh, she's changing." She was starting to get like plastic surgery done,
looking like Kelly McGillis.
And then I think she like faded into the. I think she faded into the. Yeah,
no, that's sad. Like what? Especially in the Me Too era. Like what happened? Like we can't bring Meg Ryan. I like Meg Ryan.
We could have. They could have done anything they wanted to do. This is freaking Maverick. They didn't want to. This movie needs to fire on all cylinders, and they needed Jennifer Connelly to bring it back for them. I don't know what to tell you. Wow. Leading up, I saw a couple, like, they did little, not trailers, but making ofs on YouTube, leading up to this movie being made, and really showed, like, the levels they took to make sure that this movie was as authentic as possible as far as the planes and the flying and, like, all that kind of stuff. And it was kind of interesting because, like, in the jets themselves, when you see the external, it's not them in there flying it, but when you see them inside, it's a 2-seater jet where the actor's in the back seat and the person flying the plane is in the front seat, and they're obviously pretending like they're flying the plane, but at the same time, there's all this camera equipment, lighting equipment, and all this other stuff that's in there to make sure that they're capturing it correctly. So they had to actually teach every single one of these people how to operate all these things and how to be in the right frame, where to go. Like they had to basically direct themselves while in the air so that all these different things would turn out pretty cool. So I don't know. I think it was kind of interesting how, other than them having to go through all the flight training and the evacuation training and doing underwater stuff for, in case they had to parachute out, like they had to go through all that stuff. And of course, Tom Cruise was like leading the way as the, commander of it all, like being the cheerleader for everybody and on-site safety and such.
I assumed he was flying the planes.
I think Tom Cruise was doing probably more than like Miles Teller was doing.
I was about to say, I can't picture Tom Cruise just sitting in the back seat.
He's not backing down. Yeah, he's not backing down. No, they made him go through it. But like you mentioned, 2019 is when it was scheduled to come out. COVID-19 happened. It was shelved until May 2022. Paramount refused to sell the rights to streaming per Tom's request. And as it had its hot streak and it kept making more money, and it never really died down, Tom was able to keep saying, like, we're not handing it over yet. Like, I want to see how far this thing can possibly go. And then it finally debuted at home in August 23rd, and now physical media in November. So pretty awesome run. Pretty cool that Tom was able to handle that, but or keep that together so that
he's smart. This is the movie. This is the type of movie to do it with.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Russ. Let's see here.
I feel like you have a high love for this film. I will chime in.
Okay.
I will chime in. I'll lead it off. I went into this film with low expectations. I'm not a fan really at all of the original, but I kept hearing all the great reactions from critics and audiences alike. Again, it kind of symbolizes the theater experience, movies in general kind of staying alive or being what they once were. So I support it in the abstract for what it represents. So I went in, I don't trust audiences. I don't even trust critics anymore. Mm-hmm. So I went in with low expectations. I will admit, as soon as it started with that boom, you know what I mean? And it was the greatest military commercial I've ever seen. And then Danger Zone kicks in.
Oh yeah.
Listen, dude, I'm a man with like dead Kennedys tattooed on me. I'm no way a fan of the military complex or things like this. But even I was sitting there like, yeah, fuck yeah. Even when that song kicked in, I was like, oh shit. All right, maybe they got something.
I'm ready.
What did you think?
Well,
right in the beginning.
Yeah, like I think the main thing, like there was like a little bit of a nostalgia wave that happened just from my knowing of the film, but I'd only just recently seen Top Gun, the first one, for the first time. So I can tell right away, like they're trying to like maintain, but it wasn't a little bit of Tony Scott's vision as well.
Of course, and it wasn't just that. But see, that's the thing. I think it was maintaining Tony Scott represented those big movies in the 80s. You know, at that period, he was doing Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Days of Thunder, you know, and it wasn't even a nostalgia for the original film itself, because I've only seen it once as a child and I didn't like it as a kid.
Yeah.
Now it is a mainstay in pop culture. I'm familiar with it more than I am most movies that I've seen only once. But what I think I was nostalgic for was just that style, that feeling. You don't see that. Just sort of, it wasn't sad. It wasn't mopey. It wasn't cringy. It wasn't virtue signaling. It wasn't, and like I said, regardless of whatever spectrum on the political or social, you know, wherever you fall on, it was just so straightforward. Yeah. And ironically, it was a breath of fresh air by being just so straightforward.
I agree.
And like I said, so it really had nothing to do with the original movie. Even I just think it was that style of movie.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, I forgot we used to get these all the time. Every week a movie like this would come out at one point, and we're just not in that world anymore.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that goes back to the first thing that I personally want to talk and gush about, which is Tom Cruise himself and what he's lorded over this whole thing. You know, like he is very much so, not the director necessarily, but it's what he wanted every step of the way to happen with this movie.
He's not the director, but he for damn sure can tell the director what to do.
He's in charge. And I think what you're saying doesn't happen without Tom Cruise. And I think this movie doesn't exist without Tom Cruise. The authentic vision doesn't. His insistence to keep it in theaters.
I'll tell you this.
He completely figured that part out and made sure it was what he thought it should be, and it definitely worked.
Imagine if all the actors, like a Will Smith, did this as well, like just really stuck to it and then just cave. Like the actors and filmmakers who actually have the clout to make those moves, if they all actually did it, this could be your success. But you're not. You're like playing this, we'll do it on streaming, half this, half that. And it just becomes content when you do that.
It absolutely does.
It becomes content.
And you're just
it's
trying
here
to
1 minute, you forget it. You're folding laundry, watching some blockbuster movie on Netflix. It doesn't feel like an event. It's forgettable. And Tom Cruise rolled the dice on like, hey, are people still willing to invest? And holy shit, he had the biggest hit of his career. Like regardless of whether I like this movie or not, you have got to give it props.
I was literally going to say the same thing. It's like, whether you like it or not, this movie genuinely brought people back to theaters. He went back to an old formula that still is alive and kicking when you do it right. He is a passion for making a great experience for audiences, which is ever present throughout this whole movie. And not to go back to Val Kilmer, but you said something else. I feel like going back to this authentic experience, he wants this individual, he wants this certain song, this certain look. When they were putting this movie together back in like 2016, before it like really caught steam to get made, Tom Cruise was on some like late night show and Kenny Loggins was there. And Kenny Loggins went to Tom Cruise and they kind of like talked, chit-chatted. I guess they had never really met, but he was like, "Hey, I heard you're doing a sequel to Top Gun." You know, he's like, Do you think Danger Zone will be on it? Do you think you'd use that song again?" And he looked, and this was from Kenny Loggins. He said, Tom Cruise looked him dead in the eye and said, there is no Top Gun without Danger Zone. Like, and dude, it's like he gets
right.
it.
He does. That's one thing Tom Cruise, he does. He gets it. And that's very rare when somebody is, I mean, let's face it, he's an icon.
He is. And
and for him to get it is just very rare. And he understood it.
He does. And let's say outside of the whole, is he flying these planes or not aspect, I feel like in watching this movie, he's a little less stuntman-y here and a little bit more classic Cruise, a little bit more stoic and not as cocky, obviously, than the first one. But he seems a little older, a little bit more mature, a little hardened. He's not like, they're not having him like dive out of the plane or doing anything nuts. Maybe he's flying these planes for this authentic experience, but I feel like he's a little bit more in his...
There.
Really?
He's not doing anything nuts. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, he's like breaking the rules to hit, and we don't know his viewers. We're just watching numbers go up. Like, he hit 10.
Mach fucking 10.
Now he's in space, I guess, and he lands in the desert.
In it. He's not really... You know
but what I'm
saying,
saying,
like,
and the whole purpose of why he was doing it is like, I'm going to show this guy. I'm the real Maverick. Blah, blah, blah.
So you don't think it's
not
more drama?
stoic.
But you don't think it's more drama than Mission Impossible?
But here's what in a way, but here's what I think you're trying to say, and I agree with it. It's essentially critic proof because the original Top Gun was corny.
Yes.
So it's like when we see this corniness amplified and done very well here, you can't criticize it because it's like, well, shit, you're honoring the original while existing in the modern world, while improving the original, while honoring Tony Scott. I mean, it's like it's weird, but I think you're going a little too far. I guess maybe it's a great performance or it's a great character.
I didn't say it's a great performance.
It's none of that shit. There is no great drama in this movie.
I think that there's definitely wild things that go on, but I think the way his performance is, he's not Ethan Hunt. He's keeping it, I think. All right, well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, Russ, but
I'm just saying he's not. The acting isn't something I would write home about it, but like I said, it's right in line with what those movies were. And what Top Gun was. So again, in I don't know, I just think it's a little bit of a disservice to go that far with it, but it's right in line with what they're doing, you know? You're wrong. No,
well, I do appreciate the fact that he personally thanked me for coming back to the theater. He looked me in the eye. It felt awesome. I loved it. I loved it.
I mean, honestly, sarcasm aside. You thought that was like a cool...
I went in there so amped up already because I was like, I'm finally going to see this. I'm here. Like, this is great. Like, I'm so excited. And then when he showed up, and not only just because it was him, like, oh, it's fucking Tom Cruise, but I feel like, again, just going back to the authenticity of what he's trying to do for audiences, he was so genuine in his message. It just felt like he was so super grateful, honestly, for anyone to be there to enjoy this thing. And I remember he put a tweet out too after it broke some God knows what record, billion, whatever. He was like, not saying anything other than thanks to you. You know, thank you for giving this a chance. Thank you for coming out. Like, I do think he cares about that aspect.
He does.
He
genuinely loves
I love
movies,
that.
and he loves what he does, and you see it. And let's not kid ourselves. You brought up the Mission Impossible movies. That's exactly... He's doing it with the Mission Impossible movies, what he's trying to do here. He's trying to lure you into the theater by doing these insane stunts that no one is expecting an actor to do, but he's doing it all in the name to get you into the movie theater and to save this, you know, this art form that he loves.
Yeah.
And you can't knock the man for that. Nope. Not at all.
And it still gives him a chance to take his shirt off and look immortal. I mean, the dude is like still...
he's no Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, he's...
When that happened, whoa. I was like, Jesus,
Brad Pitt. Yeah, Tom Cruise has kind of got like a solid, like, old guy's body. But he's got some... Body. Yeah, he's still got some like, definition. Yeah. He's enough to take his shirt off. But yeah, dude, you're right. I think, again, it's... People, I don't want anyone to get confused when, you know, they hear anyone gushing about this movie, me in particular, because this is still a big, dumb movie, you know, but it's exactly what people need. It's exactly what the theaters need. It was great in that aspect. I mean,
was close.
Like you said, Dark Star jet part, dogfights, final mission, Tom Cruise driving 100 miles an hour on a motorcycle with no helmet. I'm like, that's like one of the opening scenes of like, you go, Tom. He's still putting his life on the line.
Yeah. For me, I don't think it knocked it out of the park like seemingly every critic and audience
No, I've got
member
some gripes
said.
that I'd share.
But I do think this film is definitely a step in the right direction as
Yeah.
far as where I wish movies will go. I still can have my problems with it being a military commercial. It is. I have my problems with it. Like sometimes it's almost funny. It's going too far. Like I said, like really, we don't know the enemy. Like we can't name an enemy.
Right.
Like and we all know as audience in today's world, it's like, God, I know why you're not doing this. You're literally not trying to offend anyone. But at the same time, it's like, fuck, you're actually succeeding. So I can't really get mad at this.
Yeah.
But as somebody who loves movies and loves art that aspires to be authentic, it does. It's kind of like, wow, this is really commercial.
Yeah.
But again, the original is really commercial.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird conundrum I have with this film.
I think with this one, at least the story, like you said, at least you're enjoying this one, whereas you don't enjoy the first one, so it's more digestible.
This isn't nearly as convoluted as the first one was.
No, and I think
that's something nobody ever talks about with the first movie. It's actually pretty convoluted.
It is very convoluted. I remember being confused by parts when it was over, but I think this movie improves upon that in every way. Not only the story, not only the look, but what would you call it? Like the intimacy of the flying aspects. It does really. They try to put you in those shoes a lot more often than in the first one.
The best I've ever seen it look in a movie. All the aerial shots, all the flying. I mean, it's even, and for you saw it in the theater, you kept telling me it may lose something on home video.
Yeah.
Dude, it looked great on my setup.
Yeah.
And I know you have a better setup than I do, but it still hit.
Yeah.
On in my living room, it still hit.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I wanted to just comment on is that why, again, this movie is great is other than the fact that, it's Tom Cruise and it's better than the first, but like that theatrical experience component for this movie, it's like the perfect movie to see in the theater because it just elevates everything's already large in this movie and it just makes it that much larger. And I don't think, again, that this is a streaming movie. I barely think it's a physical media movie, depending on, like you said, I just think it loses something by not being in that arena or that experience.
But I'll tell you this, you know how jaded I am. You've known me many years. And, I'm telling you, for watching it first time in a living room, it works.
It works.
Yeah. I know probably it's expanded and enhanced so much in a theater, but it works, man. Yeah. It works for a first-time viewing at home. Yeah,
well, I want to talk, too, in a second about the disc itself, because I do think there's something to the quality of the disc that will enhance that experience anyway. But I did want to, other than, obviously we've gushed over this a lot, there is a couple of gripes that I do have. Just maybe two, minor, nitpicks. The one is that outside of, obviously, Tom Cruise and Miles Teller and John Hamm and Connolly, who are in it enough, basically all the other new recruit type characters, they're kind of unknown people. They were just so kind of whatever. I didn't really care too much about any of them. I was more invested in the people I sort of knew. There wasn't anyone that stood out that I was like, oh, my new favorite character. It was they're just kind of background. And then my only other small gripe is that I feel like this movie has two endings. I don't know if you felt that way. I think so. There's obviously this main mission that they're trying to complete. They complete the main mission to some degree, but then something goes wrong, and now there's a whole other element, another detour. I don't want to spoil too much in case two people haven't seen it. But after the main mission is sort of complete, there's a detour that occurs, which just brings sort of more closure. And I feel like you could have kind of maybe combined all of it together to, so that you didn't have to have, this. It's hard to even say what I want to say without spoiling.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a detour after the mission happens.
What's sad, though? I kind of expect that from all modern movies now. I feel like this film isn't the only one to suffer from that.
And I don't think it detracts, but it's just... I was like, oh man, the movie's over. They did it. And it's like, wait, there's more? They're just going to keep going?
And while I don't disagree with you about the new cast members and the younger recruits, I will say I think the movie did it very well, though. This isn't The Force Awakens. This isn't hey, we're passing the torch. They're there, and relative to the plot, he's their instructor. They're there for what they are. They don't hog screen time. This is Tom Cruise's story.
True. It is.
I mean, they handled it well, I thought.
Yep.
It wasn't just stunt oh, we got to attract younger people. No, that's his story. He's teaching younger recruits, and they don't take it over.
No.
I thought they handled it well on that.
Yep.
And one thing I want to say before we get into the actual physical release, the Kilmer scene.
Yeah.
as someone who met Val Kilmer, I'm telling you that is exactly what he's like.
Really?
In real life. Like, I met him when he had throat cancer.
It was touching.
And it was very touching, and it was strange to me to watch because that was, I'm not kidding you, like the kind of like good spirit, the kind of smiling, not like that's exactly what he was like in real life. And yeah, it was touching.
It was
that
touching.
scene really was. I mean, not only in terms of Top Gun, but Val Kilmer is such a great actor.
Yeah. And it was done well. Like the way that he appeared, the way, like the influence that he had over the movie.
It was just like, let's get Val in here. Let's have a good emotional acting scene between you two.
Make sure it makes sense.
Yes. And not like overwork Val, I'm sure. They handled it very well.
Yeah. So, well, again, as a result of Tom's sort of gamble here, his $170 million budget grossed $1.485 billion worldwide. Damn. And records include Tom's highest grossing film, largest Memorial Day opening, top film of 2022, smallest drop in ticket sales in week 2 for any movie making over $100 million.
Wow.
And Cruise and Paramount's biggest opening in 32 foreign markets. It's just like, and it's going to keep on climbing. And we mentioned Avatar will probably come in and sweep that up. Rightly so. But, this was a humongous hit.
I just hope Hollywood takes notes and they don't take the wrong notes. I don't want to see more military movies.
Yeah.
I just want to see more movies that don't beat the audience over the head with whatever ideology you're trying to. It's not required in all movies. If it's central to the story, by all means, beat me over the head. But that's why people responded to this. It's escapism.
It is.
We don't have movies that are escapism anymore.
No.
And that's why everyone latched on to this. So Hollywood, take fucking notes.
Yep, 100% right. It is escapism, and they had the formula, they knew what to do, and it was great. And critics loved it, audiences loved it. And one funny anecdote that I had in the theater experience when I went, so I went to go see it. It's packed still, and this is like week 9 or something. I finally get to go see it. It's still packed. I'm in there, the movie's over, or whatever. Like I said, I'm on like an emotional high. Tom Cruise is there. The whole movie ends, and I was like, jokingly, I will say this was definitely a joke, but jokingly, I just did like a clap. Like I started to clap because I was there with my wife, and I was like, the man next to me starts to clap too. And I'm kind of like looking at him, and I'm laughing, and he says, "Is this your first time?" I was like, "Yeah, I just saw." He's like, "This is my third time." Dude, people were going back to see this movie
Fight Club
over and over and over again. Like, people were so excited to see it once, twice, 3 times. I don't know. And again, it's not going to be for everyone. There's probably plenty of people that went and they were like, I don't know what all the hype was about. But it does appeal to a certain mass audience that kind of needed what Tom was delivering.
You know what it reminds me of? And this is going to sound odd. Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
I think because what happened was, and say what you will about Tyler Perry movies, but he knew there was an audience out there that was not getting served with a specific, like, I'm going to show you black family movies because Hollywood isn't giving you this. He saw it, he knew it, and look where it took him.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the same thing with Top Gun Maverick. It's like there is this whole audience out there who are maybe a little older, but like they still fucking watch movies.
Yeah.
And you're ignoring them.
Yeah.
And they have money. And they're interested. The younger kids aren't as interested in movies.
Yeah.
They have YouTube, TikTok, phones. It's not their culture. Stop trying to appeal to them. If you do this, holy shit, you might actually save movies and make some money in the process.
Yeah. Well,
crazy.
This movie definitely made money, and I'm actually excited to see how much money it makes in home media, physical media.
I think it's going to do.
This is going to be
big.
a huge,
especially like the holiday season coming up. This is going to be big.
Yeah.
It's good news for all. If you're watching this channel, it's good news for you. It's good news for us. It's like I said, regardless, even if the film you think is terrible, it's just a good.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
I'm happy it exists.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
what it represents.
Now I got mine. Today, or yes, I'm sorry. I got mine yesterday in the mail, and I didn't get a chance to watch this yet. But there are, not that it probably even matters, like whether or not this movie has great quality, film quality or not, you're going to probably go buy this no matter what, blind buy it. If you have seen it, if you haven't seen it, you're probably not even looking at the reviews. But of course, they're not going to fumble Tom Cruise's baby here. And it sounds like, based on reviews that are out there, that they certainly did not. Yeah. And they also do mention in the reviews I've read that the 4K is a pretty sizable, decent upgrade from the Blu-ray offering that they've got out there too. They state that the 4K is bold, sharp, clear detailing, and that the blacks are deeper, healthier, vivid, Dolby Vision color upgrade, and all that stuff. They're using the IMAX aspect ratios, and they kind of shift as needed. Some films do that. This is definitely the case here.
A lot of Nolan films do that.
And then the one thing that I thought was really interesting, and I think we'll go back to what we were talking about before about whether this can be a great enough home theater experience. If you are someone that has the access to an Atmos sound or whatever, there's all types of sound options, but the Atmos sound, according to the reviews, they state that it defies review, that it is a marvel with excellent sound side to side and top down, and it doesn't get any better than this. So I think you're going to, if you have 4K player and a TV, if you've got the Atmos and you're able to sit down in front of it and watch it, they're going to try to recreate that experience of maybe either being in the movie or being in the theater, so that you do have this larger than life experience. Yeah. And while, yes, seeing it on a huge theater is great, seeing it even on your TV at home in 4K, things are going to come into a little bit more clarity, like in the cockpit or on Tom Cruise's jacket or, whatever it is. You're going to see all these different details kind of pop that you probably
Ed Harris's seething rage.
His seething rage. All that will become a lot more clear. There's 5 featurettes included, a 30-minute behind the scenes and a 50-minute Q&A with Tom Cruise about this film. So, yeah, I mean,
I've read the same stuff, dude. Everything I'm hearing is like, this is a reference disc. This was the movie. They knew what they had. This is for the format. We're going to knock this one out of the park and hopefully gain new consumers in doing 100%. So.
100%. And they deserve every penny that they get for this movie, in my opinion.
Shit, after talking about it with you, I might pick this up now.
Dude, and this Steelbook is really awesome, too.
I know, looking at it. And I, like I said, I'm on the fence of whether or not I even like it, but I just respect it so much, and it is entertaining. So I may even pick it up. You should. Everybody out there should give it a try. Again, if you have seen it, you know what we're talking about here. If you haven't, just to reiterate one more time, Tom Cruise made basically a true, thrilling experience for the theater that will hopefully translate just as well to home media. It's a great cinematic escape. Saved the theaters in the process. I bought 3 copies myself. Yeah. And Tom Cruise delivered all 3 to you personally and thanked you for buying them.
Classy guy. So one other...
he even climbed up your house and went in like the top window.
Love you, Tom. Love you, Tom. But one other release that you were kind of excited to talk about, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on as well, Russ, is 8 Mile in 4K.
How come you didn't say this was my favorite movie?
One of your favorite movies, 8 Mile. Is it one of your favorite movies, Russ?
No.
So this movie's coming out in 4K for its 20th anniversary, for anybody that feels old by me saying that. It's coming out November the 8th in 4K from Universal. It's coming in a regular edition and a Steelbook edition. And we're going to take a look at the collector's Steelbook edition from Zavvi because they've got the full package here. And this movie was first out in 4K first out in blue in 2009. This is its 4K debut on all these different steels and regulars. This is a 2002 movie directed by Curtis Hanson. He had from what I could tell in his filmography, he kind of like had a handful of films prior to this, but the main hits were like Hand That Rocks the Cradle, The River Wild, and L.A. Confidential.
The River Wild.
Dude, that was a big hit for Kevin Bacon. Who else was that? Meryl Streep?
That's so funny. I knew you're like Curtis Hanson. I think so. I didn't watch it, but you're right. Hey, That Rocks the Cradle, L.A. Confidential. I knew you were going to say those two. Actually, he did a film I love with James Spader and Rob Lowe called Bad Influence.
Yeah, Bad Influence.
That movie's badass.
Yeah. Well, those are his standouts to me, Curtis. Rest in peace.
River Wild. So anyway, from the director of River Wild comes 8 Mile.
8 Mile, starring Marshall Mathers.
Yes.
Kim Basinger, Brittany Murphy, Michael Shannon, and Mekhi Phifer. And the film follows Jimmy Smith and his attempts to launch a hip-hop career, if you want to put a fine point on it. Now, this movie was stated as partially autobiographical, and this is something that Eminem is basically like fought, tooth and nail to say, like, this isn't just about my life. He was basically kind of saying, if I made this movie exactly about me, I would feel like trapped. By saying it's autobiographical, it gives me a little bit more breathing room to sort of act and to embellish, and I think that's why he's stating autobiographical.
Yeah, that's 50% true. Okay. Let's be honest. This film existed to be propaganda
for Eminem.
Yes, this movie existed to be the backstory for a superhero that is Eminem, to cement a legacy and sell records in the future. And that's what it was. But it was also, hey, if we portray you to be kicking everyone's ass like we see in this movie and all that. It's like, that's not autobiographical at all.
Yeah.
So if we portray that, we're going to have a cool as ice situation, basically.
Yeah. And
it's having your cake and eating it too.
I wasn't sure about how much of a success this movie was, but it was a success. Yeah, it was a critical, commercial success. Soundtrack
Oscar
album.
winner.
Soundtrack, yeah, that too. The soundtrack album was equally praised. And like you mentioned,
the soundtrack was different too.
It was a little bit different. I saw the track
because the film takes place. I'm trying to think of the music in the movie. It has to be 95, I want to say. And, the soundtrack was original recordings from 2002 when it came out. But, because it's a period piece.
Gotcha. From 2002. 1995, 2002.
Yeah, it's like 90. The film takes place in the 90s and it came out in 02.
Well, it like you
the original music in the film is fucking incredible. Like every damn scene, there's a song playing. I love.
People love this. People love the soundtrack. I've actually never seen this movie, but you are right when you said this was the first film to have a rap song nominated for Best Original Song, and he was the first rapper to win the award.
There's been 3 6 Mafia won.
They also
after.
Did. Yep.
Yeah, that was after.
And Eminem wasn't even there because he thought for sure he wasn't going to win, so he didn't even show up.
Plus, you got to think about that juncture in a rapper's career. He was still kind of young. Like, dude, it's a credibility thing.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if some young, like, who would be like a popular rap? If the Baby showed up at the Oscars today, you know what I mean? Like, it just,
the Baby, he ain't no Eminem. But I want to I kind of want you to fill me in a little bit because, like I said, I haven't seen this movie. I get the gist of what this movie is based on just growing up and seeing this stuff everywhere. But I kind of want to talk just a little bit in your opinion about what makes this movie really great. Maybe what are some things that detract from it. But the first obvious place to start would be Eminem himself. I know from what I read, he's in every single scene. Can he act? Like how does it work? How does he work?
Okay. Well, if you want to speak on the acting department. He's fine. He carries it, but again, he's playing a heightened version of himself.
Yeah.
So really, and I actually rewatched this before we got to. I watched it a couple days ago because I had only seen it in its entirety once when it came out, and I noticed all he really has to do in this movie in every scene is just walk away from something or be angry, and it's like even if you are, just at a basic. If you have a basic knowledge of his music, he does anger pretty well.
Yeah.
And does
he can handle that.
Like walk away, like he can handle it. And again, I wouldn't call it a great performance, but he's not an actor.
Yeah.
So it's like, and he carried it, and he did not fail. So I guess you could call that great in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
I think it was wise of him to not. He got a ton of acting role offers after this movie, and I think he was wise to turn them down. It worked for this. I don't think it would have been a good look for him to keep acting. Honestly.
Well, Siskel and Ebert said that he had raw magic, and he was convincing without being too electric. Too electric, Russ, not too electric.
Like I said, it's easy to be convincing when you're just kind of doing a version of yourself. And I think what they're really speaking on is, let's face it, just how talented he is. Regardless of your thoughts, if you like his music, if you dislike his music, one thing you can't take away is that he is an excellent, if you're not a hip hop, he's an excellent lyricist. Yeah. He's an excellent wordsmith. He's an excellent MC. And so that's what this movie's focusing on. So when you get to the end with the climax of the film, which is these battle scenes, it's like, holy shit, you're into it. Yeah. It's a lot like Maverick. It's almost critic proof because it's essentially the Karate Kid. It's you got to rise up. You got to, lose yourself in the music. You got to he's scared to battle, but his friends believe in him, and there's no real plot aside from that.
What about the rest of the cast?
That's what I was going to say. They're actually, and I didn't remember this back when I saw it the first time when it came out. They're actually really fucking good, and I think they're helping him.
Well, the only thing that
Brittany Murphy's really good. Yeah. She's an underrated actress. Anthony Mackie. This is one of his
first film.
This is She Hate Me. Spike Lee's She Hate Me was.
I thought this was his debut.
I thought that was before. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. And Anthony Mackie's a great actor. Mekhi Phifer is great in it.
Was Kim Basinger miscast?
No.
That's what I read is from Critical that she was the one that was miscast.
Oh my God. Miscast for what? This character is there just to be a parallel from what everyone knew at the time was that he didn't get along with his mother. She serves nothing to this plot. There's really no plot. Just like he has a little sister in the movie who is only in this movie to mirror the real life, what we knew as Haley. You know what I mean? His daughter.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing going on with Kim Basinger in this movie at all, just to portray her as trailer trash.
Right.
And you know what's funny too? Remember how he got sued by his mother in real life? You can tell in this movie that they're trying to portray her as a drug addict, but you don't ever see Kim Basinger do any drugs.
Yeah.
No. But no, she's great. I even read the only reason she did it was as a favor, because she was like, Curtis Hanson got me the Oscar for LA Confidential, so I'll come back and do this. But again, not Michael Shannon. You know,
Awesome. Yeah.
Not all. It's like you got great. These are great actors. They fill it out. There's great chemistry. It's shot impeccably. It looks beautiful.
Really?
Oh God! And especially in the battle scenes at what's it called, the shelter or something in the movie. Holy shit! Probably, like I said, regardless of your thoughts on Eminem, as far as hip hop in movies, that's top 5 for the way it's looked and shot, the audio, like the mixing. It's very, very good.
And you mentioned the soundtrack. It was a 4 times platinum soundtrack and had Eminem's first #1 single on it, which of course was "Lose Yourself."
That's not his first #1 single.
That's what I'm reading. Let me do fact check. Let me fact check.
You're trying to tell me the real Slim Shady wasn't a #1 song?
I don't know.
That fucking thing was everywhere back then.
Let's see, Russ. Let's do a quick.
But and again, it's kind of weird to focus on the soundtrack though, because the soundtrack is essentially just a companion piece album. Like none of the songs on the soundtrack are in the movie.
It says from here on his Wikipedia page, "Lose Yourself was a commercial success, becoming Eminem's first Billboard Hot 100 #1 single and remaining there for 12 consecutive weeks."
That's strange. I mean, you were around at this time. Doesn't that sound wrong?
I don't know. But I mean, again, like you said, the soundtrack is lauded, and it's like 4 times platinum, Oscar nominated, and and that kind of leads me into my next question. Winning. My next question kind of, obviously there's a lot of hip hop in this, there's a lot of music in this, and then there's a lot of rapping in it too. What's the battle rapping element to it like? Is it realistic? Is it good? Is it compelling?
That's what I was just
Is it
speaking
hard?
of.
Yeah.
It's all battle rap. There's no like just concert.
But it's great.
Yeah, it's shot really fucking
Not just
well.
the shot, but like the rapping itself. Is it strong? Is it good?
Yeah,
like
Eminem's one of the best to ever do it. I mean, and he is. Say what you. I know I kind of brought up credibility, and serves as propaganda. I in no way mean to say that Eminem needed any of that stuff. He did come from the battle raps community. Yeah. He can do all this stuff. He did do all of this stuff. So he is great at it. And to see him doing it, and dude, this is like 20 some years ago. This is back in his prime, pretty much. Well, or at least in his youth. I don't want to say prime. That sounds negative.
And again, just from what I was reading, because I don't know too much, but the final battle, which I'm assuming is the best, was compared to Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Is that true?
No. That's fucking hyperbole. Come on.
I don't know, dude. I'm just asking you. This is the level that this has been brought to.
And I think that's why I'm kind of going in, like, I'm trying to, like, not be negative, but provide some levity to this, because it's like, dude,
it's not that legendary.
Yes. Like, calm down.
Well, what's not
Jesus Christ, the battle in House Party, to me, is Apollo versus Rocky, is more comparable to that than this. But this is great. This is great.
I'll give you your chance now to be negative. What are the things that don't work?
Like I said, it's barely a movie. If you take out the battle rap aspect of it, like, it's just filling time. It's like, here's Eminem being sweet to this little girl. Here's him fighting with his mom. Gotcha. Here's him fighting with his friends. Here's him fighting with Brittany Murphy. Yeah. It's just like, how do we pad out this time to get back to what we're all here to see?
Right.
But again, with that kind of cliched type of narrative, it is done very fucking well. Okay. Like, for instance, I think The Karate Kid is cliched and stupid, honestly. But again, it's very entertaining. It does it very well. That's exactly the kind of movie 8 Mile is. Curtis Hanson is very capable of making an entertaining film. And then you have great music. There's if you're going to balance it out, there is so many elements in this film to like that you can kind of overlook the sort of, I don't want to say corny, but sort of the the more questionable elements in it.
Well, it was a complete hit. It was #1 in the box office, and it was the second highest opening for a rated R film.
What was the first at that time?
I don't know. I don't know, but this is the highest opening for a rated R film, second highest, and it opened #1 at the box office. And then after this, Curtis Hanson, he went on to do In Her Shoes. What'd you say?
Wonder Boys.
He did. He also did In Her Shoes and Lucky You, which I never saw either of these. It's his filmography to me is like a little all over the place with the types of films that he did.
He is weird. He's almost like a journeyman director, but like I don't like calling him that because LA Confidential is really fucking good.
Awesome.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle is great. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says.
No, it is really good.
I mean, he's an odd one.
He is.
He's like, to me, he's like the awesome version of Ron Howard.
The awesome version of Ron Howard. You hear that, Ron Howard? I know you watch. Well, you're still alive. Curtis Hanson died 2016.
Yeah.
He can't. You know, so now Ron Howard, you got to more
I'll say
head start.
that is one kind of sad element of watching 8 Mile now, because like I said, I watched in the past couple of days. You know, Brittany Murphy died.
Yeah.
Mekhi Phifer's character, I forget his name in the movie, but he's based on Proof, Eminem's best friend in real life, and Proof is in this movie. He cameos and stuff.
Yeah.
He raps in it, and you know, Proof passed away. It's kind of like a little sad.
A little somber.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned that Eminem never took another acting role. According to him, or according to some reports or quotes or whatever, I'm not sure, but he claimed that this movie, and again, he's in every scene, this movie was too taxing for him, and he said he would never act again as a result. Like, he did not enjoy the whole experience.
Think about it. Well, he was filming this movie and doing 2 albums at the same time.
Yeah, it's
the 8
a lot.
Mile soundtrack, which I said was all original. None of that stuff is in the movie.
Yeah.
And then, what was it, the Eminem show, I think, at that time? That was coming out as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. He's cameoed in things. Like, he was in The Wash, the Dre and Snoop movie.
Sure, that wasn't too taxing, just to show up on The Wash.
As far as Funny People too, I believe he cameoed in some.
Okay. He wasn't. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He wasn't. That.
Yeah.
As far as physical media is concerned, the DVD was released in 2003. It made $75 million in sales and rentals in its first week, which was the biggest physical media debut for a rated R film, placing it in the top 10 releases of all time for home media. DVD.
Dude, when this came out, also spaghetti sales went through the roof.
Well, now it's out in 4K, Russ. 20th anniversary. Are you going to pick this up, or a version of this? Are you going to recommend this to the people? What do you think?
I'd recommend this. It's not perfect. You know what? Hey, for a more modern film that you can compare it to, it's, to me, and it's in line. It's equivalent to Straight Outta Compton.
Okay.
I would say that, and I would say Straight Outta Compton is is easily the best rap hip hop biopic, not documentary, but biopic where actors are playing, you know, the roles. So if I'm saying 8 Mile is on the same level as the best hip hop biopic, it's clearly good.
Okay. Well, again, it's a regular. There's a Steelbook, and there's this solid collector's edition from Zavvi. There's no new features to speak of. They're still using the same old DVD ones, but this has been remastered in 4K with HDR. Again, the Zavvi package comes with all the traditional stuff. It looks pretty solid, so if you're a fan of this movie, pick it up.
It has a great look, so I might pick this up, actually.
Pick it up?
I'm talking myself into wasting money coming here. I got to stop doing this podcast, man. I'm going broke.